Hi, I'm Maximization. I'm a doctoral candidate studying under Professor Vashaheli, and my dissertation committee is currently present, except for Dr. Applebaum, who unfortunately is not here right now, but she may be on Zoom. So this essay right here, which I'm to present to you today, is part of my second essay in the dissertation. And it is called Assessing the Risk, a Comprehensive Methodology for Evaluating Laundering Likelihood in Cryptocurrency Exchanges. And let's get right into the show. So the main purpose of this sort of essay is motivated by my understanding of crypto. I've played around with it, and I see that it's extremely volatile, and it led to a bunch of questions, me wondering things like, why does it behave this way? Why do consumers put trust into a system that essentially you put money into it and you hope that you get more money out of it, which by nature seems to be a Ponzi scheme. But upon closer analysis, we can perform some research and try to gain an understanding of what is going on. So my first essay, where it focuses on what's happening mostly internally into the cryptocurrency ecosystem. This part more focuses on external factors, the exogenous variables that could be potentially affecting these cryptocurrency exchanges. Originally, this essay was focusing on cryptocurrencies, but we decided to narrow it down exactly to exchanges because it's easier to create a risk score for exchanges. And one of the motivations behind all of this is that there has been reportings of criminal activities, and according to the United States government, any sort of crime that occurs using wires, and the internet uses wires, it is a felony. So there's a lot of criminal activities, and regulators, of course, want to get a cut of the cryptocurrency pie. And there's reasons for studying this. And one of the reasons is laundering. This paper does not use laundering in the traditional sense, but rather it refers to laundering as using the properties of cryptocurrencies, such as anonymity, to obfuscate potential transactions and maybe to hide some suspicious transactions and through money. And some of the issues that this paper looks at would be, what are the security, the infrastructure, and so on. And the whole purpose of this is to help better inform people how they can make more wise investments. So overall, this research is motivated to help regulators have better decision-making, investors know what they're getting themselves into, potentially the exchanges themselves to reduce their own risks, so they could use this as a metric. And for businesses, if they want to get into crypto, how should they evaluate these exchanges, which are highly unregulated? So, for starters, I've already previously mentioned that cryptocurrencies have a innate transparency into the architecture of their design. And how do we keep track of a transaction when you only know the sender, the receiver, the time, and the amount? Well, there's currently some methods that have been tossed around, such as using machine learning and AI in order to gain an understanding and have an attempt at data analytically understanding of what sort of macroeconomically at least is going on with cryptocurrencies. And through these patterns, some law enforcement have actually been able to figure out criminals, but it's still quite difficult. And there are certain techniques to help audit these cryptocurrencies. I just noticed the pen I dropped. And these techniques would include things like chain analysis. Now, some of the limitations of these techniques is that they are limited, for example, to a singular cryptocurrency. Or they may require the user to be a participant in the protocol in order to audit it. Or when you were trying to perform an audit, rather than auditing the entire exchange, you were auditing your own personal account, which really doesn't help people understand the big picture of what is happening. We all remember FTX and 3 Arrows Capital, where there was a crash in the crypto market because of mismanagement of funds. And there are plenty of external factors beyond just the mere cryptocurrencies themselves that can impact the security of investment in a cryptocurrency exchange. What has currently been done to deal with this issue? Well, besides my essay on trying to help the exchanges disclose their on-chain obligations and their off-chain obligations in a double helix manner, and me trying to understand how metaverse marketplaces impact cryptocurrencies through my STEAM paper, which some of you may have seen before. Not much has been done specifically for risk scoring in crypto. However, there is decades of research that is built on traditional currencies, and there's of course tons of anti-money laundering literature. So if we are to try to create an understanding of cryptocurrency specific risks, and we want to understand the risks associated with the exchange, we of course would need to have the information that separates traditional currencies from cryptocurrencies. Some important things to look at might be the mechanisms that would facilitate these suspicious transactions. So the first mechanism that allows these suspicious transactions to occur would be the inherent nature of cryptocurrencies. They're inherently anonymous or pseudo-anonymous by design, which allows people to obfuscate their transactions. There's also a plethora of mixers and tumblers. What mixers and tumblers do is they take clean money, they take dirty money, and they mix it around in order to try to prevent people from knowing what's going on. Additionally, there are some privacy coins that are offering some sort of additional security through the design of the protocol. And there are exchanges which are actually decentralized. In literature, these can be known as dApps, decentralized applications. Also, one of the problems behind cryptocurrencies is that cryptocurrencies are global in nature, which is why they are actually outright banned in some places. Because they are global in nature and regulations can vary from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, it's difficult for lawmakers to even create some sort of standard because they don't know where the transactions might be even coming from. And there's also a technique I found called coin join, where users combine multiple transactions into a single transaction, which also makes it more difficult to track. Yes, essentially it creates like a second layer transaction, which makes it more difficult to know what is being traded. In addition, there's people who create fake shell companies and initial coin offerings. This happens all the time. For example, a developer can create a cryptocurrency, hype it up, people say, yeah, this is the greatest thing ever, invest into it. People put in money, they sell all of it off, make profit, run, value plummets, investors lose their money. This is what makes newer cryptocurrencies and maybe newer exchanges be more riskier because of these pump and dump schemes. Also, people use crypto ATMs included to further launder. So this table right here discusses some of the stakeholders of this crypto crime. Some of the stakeholders include the financial institutions that may be utilizing crypto. Some stakeholders might include the regulatory authorities because they're trying to, of course, tax people and they're trying to enforce whatever regulations that they have and prevent the fraud from occurring. the users of the crypto and the technology providers, because the technology providers create certain chips, for example, to help mine the crypto, and the criminals, because they're the ones who made the crime in the first place. So in this table, I've just listed some of the current frameworks that are utilized to prevent crypto crimes, such as cooperating internationally with other countries, educating users, current transaction monitoring systems, and so on. So what we did in this paper was we based it on Dr. Isa's exceptional exceptions, which uses a weighted risk score in order to assign risks to each transaction. So in a similar manner, we can therefore assign risks to each crypto exchange. So right here, this is the model that was utilized, and basically the way this model works is that each risk indicator is indexed from I1 to I whatever, and we loop through all of the indicators. I will show an example of how this works. But what's important to notice is you need to make sure that you are being consistent with your units of measurement when you are trying to apply the risks for your comparisons. So you could create a decision matrix. So you have your risk indicators and the weight assigned to them. I will get into how you could potentially come up with this weight. And you have whatever exchanges you're trying to compare the risks of. So this slide just shows potential risk indicators, but this of course depends on the exchanges that you are comparing. But the paper recommends some potential risk indicators. So the way people can utilize these risk scores, they can categorize the exchanges potentially similarly to how stock market options work, where you can categorize the risks based off of whether you want to hold off on buying from this exchange, whether you want to sell your assets in this exchange, or this exchange is pretty safe to buy things from. So as a method to obtain the weights, one method that was suggested was using a regression between some variables and then plugging in the betas as your weights. The idea here is we can look at different risks and try to understand the risk scores. And if anybody is interested in my research or they wish to contact me, please do feel free to do that. And I will leave you guys with the graphical abstract of how this is envisioned in my work. Thank you.